Firemen use this to actually help save people. So I have this set up to be, obviously I'm the warmest thing in there, being red, orange, and yellow. So what we're looking for here are those blue and black spots to actually move on their own. The cool thing is I have this set up to where there's a blue dot bouncing around the screen, showing us the coldest spot in the frame at that particular moment. Okay. So when you guys get your video back, that blue dot will kind of help direct your eye. If I see something during my spot check, obviously I'll give you the stills from it because I need to analyze the temperature variance, because I also have a center crosshairs in the middle, so it kind of gives us the ambient temperature as well. Okay. So that way I can kind of balance things out and see what the average temps are. This guy is going to hopefully capture those blue and black spots moving on their own. So I just caught something a few weeks ago. It was actually middle of March. So it was actually super exciting because it was a full figure of a person, blue with a black face.
One of those in my house. We had a treadmill in my house now. And my house was built in 2010, so it's not even that old. And I was laying in bed one night and it sounded like a plane, like a loud plane. Well, my treadmill was all on, but the thing was unplugged.
Really?
I sold it.
Well, maybe it sounds in the...
That happened twice.
It wasn't
actually.
the treadmill. It's something going on in the house where the land is.
But they hear you. Don't.
I think it was my brother.
You hear something in his monitor.
Oh, my son's room. The weird things happen on his monitor all the time. We'll hear doors closing, and there's no...
You need video in there.
Well, I have a monitor, but it doesn't record.
So you have to actually be watching it.
I think there's a way we can record it, and he comes in running every single
Yeah,
night.
because even like the, because I have a lot of Google cameras in my home, so we have a subscription, so something like we can go back and watch the history of things because it stores it for us in the cloud.
Yeah, I've seen him when he was little. He would run. He came out of a dead sleep, stood up, and he ran to the other end of the crib screaming.
That's, again, you need to get that stuff recorded. Macy, this one's going to go to you.
Oh boy!
So, it's a cell phone. This is going to keep you occupied.
You're going to see things.
So you're going to keep this guy horizontal this way, not this way, all night long. You're going to try to keep the wire side on your left. So again, it's already recording, but we are going to do a few starts and stops. So think of the horizon. Horizontal. That's the way you want to keep it. So I seen her like doing that. Which way do I need to keep it? But I'm going to tell you when we're going to start and stop this particular camera, just because it's already recording. But when I say let's go ahead and kill your camera, you're going to hit that orange square. Just hold it horizontal all night long, and your hand just covered up the camera. Perfect. You got this. So now she's on. Bless you.
No, it's just my nose runs when it's cold.
Wait, if there's a blue dot.
Spirit boxes, we're going to be using 2 different spirit boxes tonight. So this one in particular, if you're, sounds like you guys are already familiar with them, this is going to sweep through the FM radio stations pretty quickly. On TV, it's just the white noise. So, and then Zach Bagans tells you what he thinks he heard in the middle of it. So, but with that, this one is slowed down on purpose. First off, you guys aren't trained to listen to white noise for 2 hours at a time, which is basically how long we're going to be out, 90 minutes to 2 hours. And with all the history I'm going to give you, I guarantee you the listener will be falling asleep. So between all the history and the white noise, you would definitely fall asleep. So this one is going to have the radio chatter coming through as well. So the song lyrics to DJs, the commercials. Another method you can use is to take those and put them as conveyed messages, meaning if you can make out, Ava, what is coming out of the DJs and the song lyrics or whatever they're saying, you're going to let us know what it is. Now,
That's
the cool
good
thing
because you
is...
heard the restaurant and I heard nothing.
No, really.
The cool thing is that it's going to record the entire session for us. She's going to have an earbud in, so she's going to be the only one that's going to be able to hear it in real time. So I'm going to be writing down what she hears, but I'm also going to spot check the recording tomorrow morning. So I'm going to write down about, obviously 15 to 20 more markers, whether they're relevant or not. In the event that it is relevant to our space, a person in history we're discussing, or even something going on with one of you guys, then obviously I'll give you the explanation of why that word or phrase was relevant, and then give you the backlink to verify it.
Okay.
So again, it's all about, the real deal for me. I'm not here to make stuff up because I can't.
Yeah.
That's kind of the whole point. Oh, look at that. You got the pink ones tonight.
Oh, nice.
I don't want earbuds back. Earwax is gross. So you get to keep that as a souvenir. It's already recording, so the only thing you have to worry about is the volume button. So the volume button is a wheel right here. You'll control the volume up and down as much as you want to all night. You won't mess with the recording. You just have to undo the twist tie so you can put one in your
hand.
If
you walk around with a thing that shows you that there are ghosts, what do you think is there when you're not recording? There are energies everywhere, honey. Every day of your life.
The next spirit box works like an obulus. Familiar with that term?
I remember hearing it. I don't remember exactly.
It's the one that gives you the words. It's got
Oh,
the two
okay.
little
Yeah,
antennas
and
on
they
it.
come up on the screen.
Right.
Yeah.
So this one is a phone app.
Okay.
Now, an Ovilus, like the ones you guys see on TV, only has 2,048 terms in it. Mine has over 9,100.
Okay.
So that's the reason why I use this. However, this is a phone app, so 80% of it doesn't mean anything. It's meant to be thrown away.
Okay.
It's the other 5 to 20% that I'm going to be able to tie to the location of person, one of us.
Okay, yeah.
So I'm going to clear out last night's list. They actually they were pretty light. They only had 65 terms and phrases come up. So we'll see what comes up for us tonight. When I want to see the list, I'll come to you. I don't want to see every word that pops up because remember, most of it isn't going to mean anything anyway. Just hit the little white square next to the word, and you'll be able to scroll through the list when it comes up, and then you just circle back. Nice and easy for you.
Okay.
You get to carry the bag. No, I'm kidding.
I was like, that's probably a smart thing.
So, millimeters. You're going to be my multifunction person.
Uh-oh.
I am a multitasker.
You are.
So, this is going to be kind of like the K2 meters you see with the little blinky lights that measure electromagnetic fields. So, anything above 2.5 on the top number, I want to know what's going on. The reason why is because that's the second green dot on a K2 meter, and I have them measured in the same way.
So anything above 2.5.
You got it. And then in certain spaces, if it continues to go up, and you go up to like, say, 6.3 or something, I'm like, okay, now it's anything above 6.3. So, and I'll be writing down your measurements because this does not record anything. So you'll have the only device that does not record. The bottom is ambient temperature.
How did you know that I was a multitasker?
I'm awesome like that. How did I know everybody's names? We'll just go with it. So the bottom is ambient temperature, so you're going to know how cold it is out here all night long. The reason why it's measuring it from this ambient probe here at the top, so if Ava finds something on her camera, or I'm sorry, Macy finds something on her camera, then we'll be able to debunk it or prove it pretty quickly.
Okay.
So that's what that piece does. The last part is a REM pod, basically a motion sensor. If something gets we're next to electrical poles, it's going to go off. The basic gist is if something gets close to it, it will go off, kind of like what it's doing right now. And then the closer it gets, the higher the pitch we're going to get. And then there's different colors in there. I point it down because it's super bright. We don't always use that, but I'm going to show you more about that at our first location.
Okay.
So right now, focus on the red numbers.
Bro, this is
Now, how fast are we moving? Just because I have bad knees, so I probably can't keep up if you're running.
We'll be fine.
Okay.
We're only going to go half a mile anyway.
Okay.
So we're not going far. You're going to hang out with me for 2 hours.
Me too.
Okay.
So
Sounds good.
it's not going to be
That
too bad
works
at all.
for me.
We're running to the car.
Not too bad at all. All right, so let's talk about why we started here. Of course, we started at a haunted location. So this is Big John's behind me, as I told you guys to meet me here. So Big John's was owned by a football player. That's how it got started. His name was Big John Kennedy. He played for the 1947 New York Giants. This was his bar. He used to sit in the back, tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, 2 guys come in, they're not old enough to drink. He has a bartender throw them out. They leave pretty pissed off. They come back the next night and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. Big John sees what's going on. He puts down his beer and goes over and just starts beating the heck out of these guys, pounding them right into the floor. A couple of gunshots go off. John gets hit in the neck, it grazes him, and it lands in the wall behind him. John gets up after being shot and goes back to the bar and tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the 2 guys on the floor, and ambulance. So, the irony of the story is that nobody died in that story. Normally we think of ghosts and what's haunting places as the ghost of a dead person. What's haunting the place is that bullet hole. It's allegedly still here. This is a new renovation of Big John, so I haven't been able to get back in there and test it. It's obviously very busy on my nights that I'm here. So, John's blood is in this building, even if they filled in that bullet hole. So, people that sit in the front tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, headache. This is normally heated warning, but you guys seem like you're very in tune with everything. But I normally tell people if you start to feel those symptoms during your time with me, please let me know so we can move the whole group, get that person to safety. Obviously, you're all one family, so you're going to understand why I say we need to move. However, I did design this tour so that nothing malevolent is coming through, but I will tell you the psychics and mediums normally don't make it. Like, they get about halfway through and they're passing out like a wet noodle.
Really?
Oh, yeah. It happens all the time, unfortunately. So, let's talk about our own health. Have you guys taken any history tours while you've been here? Any tours at all?
No.
Nothing.
Tour of the shopping closet.
Yeah, we did a lot of shopping.
A lot of eating.
This morning.
Okay.
We just got here yesterday. So.
Oh, okay. So you got a little bit of time. So every tour in town will tell you about the big earthquake we had here in 1886. It's a big deal for us because it's the East Coast. You guys are North Carolinians, you know we're not supposed to have earthquakes. So this is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. So the white mantle you see in the middle of the building also wraps around on the front side, on the East Bay side, and a piece of that broke off, struck somebody in the back of the head, and killed them. They say you could see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street in the middle of the night.
Okay.
I say apparently and allegedly a lot with that because I don't have any proof of it. It's just a great segue so nobody's thinking about getting sick on the tour. So when I have 10 people and they're all staring at me like, what the hell did I just sign up for? Yeah, I don't have groups that are all intact and in tune like you guys are. So I kind of have to keep things, safe in that kind of mentality. Are you getting the gist on how to listen to that? Have you turned it up at all?
No, I forgot how to turn it up.
It's the wheel, right at the very top, right above the numbers. So there's a little wheel up there. Nope, not the button. There's a wheel right next to the button.
Wait, right there?
Yep.
Right here?
Yep. You got to press in there a little bit.
Oh my gosh. Jason just went out and got his
Oh,
huggy
you got it
wuggy
now.
out of the car. My Ring app just went off.
Oh,
In my house.
anything going on?
No, my husband went out to the car to get his Huggy Wuggy, the scary thing.
I say we go
Now
slow.
Cooper can't
Okay,
live
yeah,
without
let's
it,
go.
so-
I'm gonna stand next to you. Yes, maybe she should be in the front. I don't want to be in the front.
You're okay.
Okay, I guess I'll stand out low next
I'm
to
telling
mom.
you, honey, if they're showing up on these, it's not because you're turning these machines on. It's because they're always there.
I'm scarred.
I love that you're explaining it to her that way.
I mean,
The ghost.
it's the undeniable truth.
Oh, the ghost walked by and went on. Danny was not scared at all.
Listen, I've lived through some scary situations, so
I will tell you that that ghost I told you I just found a few weeks ago with that particular camera was shot by an 8-year-old girl. And she
I
went
think
home just fine.
spirits are attached to younger people. I think,
Depends.
sometimes.
Oh my god.
It really depends.
We went to a hospital and I don't know what was going on with her, but it was the weirdest thing I've ever experienced.
What happened?
Pretty sure you were possessed.
What happened?
You were. It was scary.
So let's talk about why we're here. This is normally when I have my groups of 10, I get to work with everybody one-on-one and show them more hands-on experience with their devices. You're at the Big Red Barn. This is where we keep the horses for the carriage rides. So the only history here is a one-liner, and I make it nice and short and sweet so we don't spend a lot of time talking about ponies and football players. We can deep dive into much deeper history. So the history here is this is the same Red Barn that held horses that delivered milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. That's all I got, 1860s and 1920s. So let's talk about the 2 spirit boxes we're using tonight, which is weird because I had all 6 out last night. So it's like, oh, and I have 2 out tonight. So spirit boxes, this is not, is somebody here? Like everybody asks on TV and what everybody initially wants to do. If somebody says no, that means somebody's here. So we're not going to ask yes or no questions all night long. You're going to ask questions in a space like this, just as an example of something you already know the answer to. For example, what color is the Big Red Barn if somebody's here? Obviously, you're listening for the color red, you're looking for the color red. However, the color red might not be available to a song lyric or a DJ or a commercial, but if you heard fire truck, blood, heart, those 3 things are specifically red. So
Okay.
it can't be like shirt because a shirt can be any color. So if somebody was wearing a red shirt tonight, I wouldn't accept that. I would take something that was specifically red. So most of the night, I'm going to require that there's something else to verify what's actually going on. For example, let's say,
Just wait and ask
what's
him.
the question? Which we got? You can ask.
Macy.
There's no such thing as crazy questions on this tour.
She was just asking something about an apple. I don't know.
An apple.
Could also be
red.
green,
Right.
But it can be green or yellow.
but blood is never green or yellow. It's always red.
Okay. Is your finger in front of it?
No.
Oh, that must be. No, that's not.
No,
it?
she's actually good.
Okay.
I can see it.
That was Ava.
So most of the night I'm going to require that there's 2 pieces of something going on to kind of verify what's actually happening. For example, Joyce, if you actually have the word art on your word screen and Ava hears the number 40,
Okay. I haven't gotten any words on my screen.
well, I'm making a point. I'm just saying if it were there.
No, I'm just saying, should I have been getting words?
You
on
should
my
have something.
I mean, I see a lot of stuff going up here, but I can't read what it says. It just looks like numbers.
You're looking at this right here.
Oh, rule. Okay.
Yeah, so right now you have several words that pop
Okay.
up. I was going to say, we normally have at least 5 to 10
Oh, okay.
by now. So,
I guess I was looking in the wrong place.
yeah,
Come on.
it's always going to be in the center.
Okay.
So, but let's say you have the word art in the center.
Okay.
Ava here's the number 40. Individually, those 2 things don't mean anything. But put them together, based on our location, Art Faircloth was number 40 on Big John's team.
Oh, okay.
Did you guys see it where I have to
Yes.
put that stuff together?
Yes.
we're going to be talking about people from colonial times in the 1800s. So lots of Georges, lots of Elizas, Charleses. I mean, again, we need to know who the heck we're talking to. So that's why I usually require 2 pieces of something going on, and that does include EMF readings that are going on Kelly's device.
Okay.
So, am I obviously to assume that that's your mom and these are your 2 kids?
Yes.
Okay. I hate to assume anything until I start to ask, and we'll talk more about that later because there's something relative to one of the stories that happened on a tour one night that I still tell every single night because it was just too uncanny to be able to tell. But anyway, so that's basically how we're going to be using those 2 spirit boxes tonight. At certain places, I will say, here's some questions you can ask. I already know the answers. These are common things that we get answered all the time.
Okay.
And then as we kind of progress through the night, I'll say it's an open forum, ask whatever you want to. And it's usually at the end of the night. Macy, your camera, you're going to try to do 2 things for us. This is where your focus is going to be. You're going to try to keep a person in view at all times. And when I say person, that's usually somebody within our group right here. People don't like to be filmed, and they don't like their cars to be filmed. So even though you're a pre-teenager with a cell phone, and people probably won't think twice that you're just watching something on your phone, which is part of the reason why I gave it to you. People don't like their cars to be filmed. So if I say act casual, just pretend like you're playing with a cell phone. Because people do get angry about their cars being filmed.
Okay.
But the other piece is you're going to try to keep somebody in view because we're going to be the warmest things out here. It's obviously, 47 degrees according to your... 49 degrees out here. We are supposed to be 97 to 99 degrees. If you keep a person in view, it's much easier to see the cold spots moving through because we get that array of color. So that's why you're going to try to keep somebody in view at all times. The other thing you're going to try to do, and sometimes it's going to be impossible, is keep the sky out of view. The reason why is because that blue dot doesn't know what to measure, and the blue dot will default to go to the sky, and it'll give us a false positive. So, sky out, people in. Can you remember that?
She's shorter, so that's good.
Yes.
Sky's much further away.
Yeah. When I gave it to that 8-year-old girl, she was the cutest little thing. She came dressed to the nines, by the way. I mean, fur coat, hat, the whole 9, and she was like this tall. So I was like, you're getting the camera. So you're just too cute. Because her eyes lit up like plates when I displayed it. Everybody kind of have a gist. I need to show you more about that REM pod, but we'll do that at the next location.
Okay.
So, have you heard anything yet coming out of yours? Do you have the volume turned up? Yes. Okay. Just want to make sure. And is it still sweeping? Yes. Good. And you're still recording. Good. All right. Let's go.
Observe.
Oh,
If you hear someone go, Ava, alert us.
Now, I have seen your name pop up quite a bit. So, and you are AVA, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I haven't seen your name come up because you have a weird spelling. So, just saying. Because you're an I, right?
Yes.
M-A-C-I? Okay. All right. We'll see what we go capture at the next spot. We're going to go much deeper into history than, like I said, football players and ponies.
Okay.
So, let's head over to the next base. Ava, I definitely want you listening in.
I'm gonna have Ava. Or no. Whatever. Who? Ava? Let's do Ava.
No readings out of yours, Kelly, at all?
0.1, 0.2.
Mine says ready.
We are ready.
Yep.
I mean, I would think so.
Ava just did that.
I don't know who to keep in the thing.
Me.
Jam full in here. Definitely a wedding up there tonight playing Footloose because I don't think a regular club's going to play Footloose these days. So, welcome to another beautiful space of Charleston. You're in another parking lot. This place actually used to be something. So, I'm actually going to move us a little bit further in because that's the only entrance and exit to the lot for vehicles. So, this space used to be the Pinckney Mansion site. What does that mean? Eliza and Charles Pinckney had their mansion in the front of this lot. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant and came all the way across. we're standing in the servant and slave quarters for the home. It's basically where we are.
Okay.
So, first off, 2 spirit box teams. I am not going to be giving you questions like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the big red barn.
Okay.
Okay, you're going to get the answers from your spirit boxes. I do withhold information on purpose.
Okay.
So that way you have a genuine experience. So, Eliza and Charles got, well, first off, they had a son named Charles and they had a nephew named Charles. That's 3 different Charleses. So now you see why I need a secondary clue. The son and the nephew were signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. It's a big deal for us, obviously the son being raised here, but you guys are on vacation and you're not from South Carolina, so you probably don't care. So, I hate politics. We're going to move on. She married Charles because her father over in England was dying. And he wanted to see all of his children one last time. She didn't think he was dying. So she stayed put and got married at a young age according to our standards today, not the colonial times that she lived in. So, this is 1744, so it's not like she married Charles for citizenship or, to get a green card, because we're not even a country yet. So she was right. Dad got better, and Dad starts sending gifts over from England to this space apologetically. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. Now, you guys have been in town for at least a few hours. You've probably seen the word indigo somewhere. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
And
They
indigo.
used it to dye blue.
Yes. And we actually still use it. We use it. That's what Ava's wearing right now.
There you go.
So that's how we make blue jeans blue. They come from indigo. We already had indigo down here, but she didn't know what to do with it. So she had to learn from her slaves on how to keep it going. It's obviously not warm here all the time, as you guys already know. So she moved it to another plantation that they owned and called her dad and said, the rice plantations are going downhill. We can make a killing. And now we have an international businesswoman during colonial times, which is, as you both know, unheard of. Very unheard of. So let's get into the weird stuff about Eliza. That's her business. So let's get to the cool stuff, because that's why you guys are all here. Eliza's was the second wife. What do you have on there?
B.
It would be a little bit more specific.
Okay.
I usually get initials a lot, and we'll talk more about initials at another space, because they
Okay.
often show up there, but I was just wondering if you had another initial up there, and I won't tell you what that initial is yet.
Okay. No, just the B.
Okay. So, Eliza was the second wife named Eliza from Charles, back to back. Very smart or very stupid, depending on how you look at it.
I'm married to 2 J's, so Jason's
2 Jasons in a row.
not on. Yes.
Yeah. Well, and they've been with 2 Kellys.
They've also
Both
been
of
with the Kelly.
Both
previous
of
to
them.
me.
I got something weirder for you. My ex-wife and I divorced at the same time that her mom divorced her father, and our kids' age gaps are the same as her and her sister.
So it's like a pattern.
There's a huge pattern,
Yeah.
and I know exactly where it's going to end up because her mom is nuts.
Oh, jeez.
So, but anyway, we won't go there. It's very uncanny. There's a lot of weird instances in my ex's family. But anyway, so where was I? Oh,
Oh, living.
the mansion's not here anymore. You can ask what happened to the mansion. That's a good one to get started off for you, because a lot of these questions are going to be hard to remember. And then you can ask when that happened. Like, get a specific year. Notice that these are not yes or no questions.
See
What happened to the man?
Yeah, what happened to the mansion? Yeah.
And what year?
And then what? If you get an answer, try to stick with the same question over and over again. I'm going to give you guys more questions that you can play with. So, the children.
Well, I went to 5.2 just now.
That's perfect. So I'll have to write that one
Wow.
down. There's more children than
a
just
flash
Charles.
show and then it went right back to
That's
zero.
why they call it ghost hunting here. They don't stay put. You have to hunt them down.
2.7.
We'll take that. But let's go anything above 5.2
Okay.
of where you were. You can ask what the kids' names were and how many there were, but that's it. The reason why. There's a tragedy among those children because,
You have to ask what happened to the mansion first.
again, when I give you all the questions, you ask whatever you want to. So I'm just giving you a lot to work with. I just figured you would remember the mansion piece because that one's easy because it's not here anymore. So again, you can ask whatever these questions that you want to. Just try to stick to the same one for a few minutes. And we're going to spend about 10 minutes in here. What do you have?
Equally.
Equally. Kind of seeing if we can get some evidence. We obviously have something going on with the EMF field going, giving us a little bit of a range. But the children, there's a tragedy among those children. If you poke the bear, all activity will stop, including the EMF readings that mom's getting.
Oh, wow.
So I've seen it happen dozens of times. I can usually tell when somebody's too drunk and they didn't pay attention and they're just asking what happened to the tragedy. Yeah. So you can ask how many and what their names are. Eliza's death, that's where she's open. You can ask anything you want to. How old were you when you died? What did you die from? Where are you buried? And what U.S. president was a pallbearer at your funeral? So I don't know if you guys have ever been to a funeral. Do you know what a pallbearer is?
They carry
No.
the casket.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's many people.
So, usually when it's kids, there's certain things I feel like I got to stop and explain. So, but again, there was a president that acted as a pallbearer at her funeral. Like, that's a pretty big deal. So, I think that. Oh, you can ask how old Eliza was when she got married, and then how old Charles was. The reason I bring that up is because Charles was over double her age when they got married. So those are pretty big numbers. So it's not going to be colonial time marriage ages like 12 and 14. It's going to be today's type of young age. So just kind of keep that in mind. I think that about covers enough for us to, get started with.
Okay.
But yeah, we're gonna stay away from vehicles. You're not gonna be filming any vehicles. I know it's gonna be hard. At least you won't be focusing on vehicles. But yeah, we're gonna kind of walk around and see where the high points are. I'm gonna show you how to use that REM pod real quick. So pull up the antenna. You got it. Now turn the device around. You're gonna need both hands for a minute. There's a little flap there. You got. There's two little white buttons back there. Push the one closer to the edge into the device. Perfect. Now turn it around slowly. It's going to be bright. That's why I say slowly. So what you just did was you created an EMF field, a separate type that's not being measured here. It's only being created around here.
Warrant?
Still kind of, it says
measure.
Does it say measure?
And now it says measure.
Again, pretty vague. We're looking for specifics here. But if something interrupts the EMF field that's being created around the antenna, it's going to create colors. Yeah, so just bright. So there's blue and purple in there. I like to use this thing as kind of a call and answer. If somebody's here, make it go to blue or purple. I usually use the middle colors just because that means red means they're touching it. Obviously green is they're too far away from it to make it go off. So I like to use that blue and purple. So again, choose your color and see if you can get a direct answer. If it goes off on its own, there is a way to reset it because your movements will make it go off.
So do we tell it, so what do you mean by that? Like if you ask...
That's from your movements. I was getting ready to explain.
You ask him a question, or whoever a question, is that only her asking questions?
You guys can all ask questions.
Okay. That was my curiosity.
So, let me finish with this and I'll kind of explain that everybody's asking questions. So this is going to go off with your emotions as well.
Okay.
There's a way to reset it to make sure we're not getting false positives all night long. There's 4 buttons along the spine here, right where your thumb is. The very bottom one.
This one?
Yep, you want to keep your thumb right on it and keep clicking it every time it goes off. If it goes back to the same color it was just on and you're perfectly still, it's obviously not your movements. Do you kind of see where I'm going with that? The reason why I say we can all be asking questions is because we don't know where anybody is in the lot right now. So you can ask questions and hopefully get the answers on your box.
It says culture right now.
And obviously you can hear the answers. You have audio just like me. So if you're asking questions too, or if you guys all want to stick together, we can do that too. I have audio, you have audio. Ava can ask a question and the answer can come to me.
Oh, okay.
Do you see where, that's why I like to use multiple devices instead of the TV shows that like to show one device at a time.
Yeah.
And let's put up this spirit box and see what we can get. No, why don't you set up 5 or 6 of them around the room and see what you get?
Yeah.
And then maybe a couple of motion sensors and see what happens instead of just one device at a time. So that's why, I have a whole pack for 10 people. Like I have laser grids and different styles of cameras and all kinds of mess in here. So I say we stick together as a group for right now, and that way we can kind of get the gist to see like what you're hearing. That way just shout them out, like whatever you hear. And obviously sometimes they're just going to grab words, might not be an answer to your question, but even if something silly as drop it like it's hot might actually mean something. So no matter how silly you think it is, let us know what you hear. All right, let's stroll around a few times and let's see what we can actually capture.
I'm gonna keep the camera on you.
You said you had a 5.2 and a 2.7?
I heard pleasure.
Yeah, you want to keep clicking that button to make
standing
sure.
still though.
But you always want to reset it after you stop moving.
I did.
Okay.
And then it's
So what colors did it go up to?
purple.
Eliza, I know the music is loud tonight, but can you tell us what happened to the mansion? You know how to use these boxes we're using, so why don't you just tell us what happened to the mansion? Let's keep it nice and simple tonight. I'm out here 7 nights a week. This woman knows who I am.
Oh, you fell one.
No, nope, not a key word at all.
What year did something happen to the mansion?
How old was
It
Eliza?
said
when
2.
I'm writing it down just because it's kind of part of another term that's going on. So we'll kind of see what happens with that. That's kind of like a first indicator. I don't want to give too much away yet.
How old was Eliza when she died?
So watch you don't have that just on mom. You might want to turn your camera a little bit so we get a little bit of footage past her. There you
Like
go.
that?
Otherwise we won't see anything going by.
How old was Charles?
I might have a car backing up. Oh, they're just in the trunk.
I heard 10.
No, but I'm writing it down too because you're hearing stuff. It's good. Sometimes things pop up and I don't know what it means. Like, I'll be honest. I mean, as much research as I do on this
Maybe
stuff,
10 was their age
like, I
gap.
have no idea. I'm going to look into
And then when you
it.
look at it, you can find that there
Right.
is a correlation.
Right.
What was the age difference? What were their ages when they got married, Eliza and Charles?
Come on, Eliza. Saturday night. It's loud. It's normally really quiet over here.
Is it?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a wedding
We
going
saw
on up there.
a lot of weddings and things going on.
Yeah, this is a very big wedding.
That went to red.
Eliza,
I'm just standing here too.
I noticed.
How many children did you have and what were their names?
One of the children is here. Can you tell us what your name is? Because sometimes that happens too. There's going to be a car coming out. So let's look at that. Make sure we stay out of their way. Any other readings on the red screen? No? Nothing crazy? Let's go back to where it's noisy.
It's kind of going up though. That went to red.
I seen that. I'm watching it. It's normally not this. I mean, we do get some readings out of that here, but it's not like all over the place like that. Like that's a little nutty.
Eliza, how did you die?
Ooh, that went to purple.
I heard wall.
Wall. Mine hasn't changed.
And we can ask the same questions over and over.
5 years. Yeah.
What was it?
5
5 years.
Maybe that's
Oh,
their
yeah.
age gap.
Pendant? Pendant? Come on, Eliza. What happened to the mansion that was here?
Oh, that went red.
Another
And I
red.
cleared it.
I heard below air.
Oh, air.
It is
So-
very vague.
Wow.
So I think that we heard, or Ada heard a 10. I think that was one of the child's age. And I think 5 years was their age gap.
It's not a very big age gap, 5 years.
So,
No, that's not the right number.
How much older was Charles than you?
What color was the mansion?
It's funny, even though I didn't give that to you, people ask that all the time.
Really?
Between that and what her favorite color was,
Oh.
something I can't prove. I can't even
Yeah.
prove what color the mansion was.
Oh, really?
Nothing else coming out of yours?
it's just a bunch of beeping.
Beeping?
Yeah, but like sometimes it goes to music and there's a long thing and stand there for a moment.
It's not an easy job, is it? Try listening to that every morning.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm accustomed to it now. I'm still waiting for another EMF come up on your red screen. Something higher than what we've already seen.
Amber Alert sounds like that's
How many kids did you have?
Yes, Eliza. How many children did you have? Kids would not have been a term
Oh,
in
it wouldn't have?
17.
Okay.
Especially
How many
from-
children? That went to 8.9.
Wow.
I feel
Now we're
like,
on the right track.
That's
I
good.
feel like there were 16.
What were their names?
Are any of Eliza's children here?
That's a yes or no question.
Oh, okay.
If any of Eliza's children are here, tell us your name. There's always a way to reword it. Always a way. Man, everybody's going home early, huh? Normally this lot doesn't empty out this quick.
That's me.
It's so cold out.
You seeing anything on your screen? Besides
She's
Nick?
Really
probably
good.
not even knowing what she's looking for,
Besides
though.
Nick?
Yeah. But it is very cool to watch. I'm telling you, when you guys get the video back, it's hard not to stare at it.
That'll be fun. We'll be able to look at that together tomorrow.
Whoa, that went to red.
Let's make a lap now that some cars have moved out of the way and
Okay.
see what happens. Yeah, who's off as you're walking? Keep track of what's what.
I got walk.
Lock?
Rock.
Speculate.
Spectrum?
Catholic.
I want to say she was Anglican. We do get a lot of like religious terms out of the spirit box here too.
Really?
Yeah, the evangelist channels love to shine through here while we're standing here. Alright, let's make our way to the back. I'll get us the answers. Doesn't look like we have much going on. Like
Okay.
everything's really, really vague, other than obviously the crazy readings you're getting in the REM
Oh, that went to 5.8. 8.1. It's at 8.1 right now.
I think that was our highest before, wasn't it?
Like
I
study.
heard Harry.
Harry.
Like Harry. I heard Harry Styles.
Like Harry Styles.
Teenagers always give me the artist. They never give me the lyric that they heard. They all do it.
Really?
It
Yes.
said Harry Styles.
It said Harry Styles?
Yeah.
I don't think he was here in the 1700s.
No, but
A lot of Harrys lived back then, though.
right,
Yeah.
and she's exactly right. So keep in mind that thing is slowed down. So during holiday time, what color is the big red barn? Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I don't need Rudolph the Nosed
No.
Reindeer. I just need the word
What was
red.
it?
But we
Claire.
will pick up
Claire?
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. So
Oh,
again,
okay.
the fact that she heard Harry Styles, I would just take out Styles
And leave the hair.
and leave the Harry. So let's talk about what actually occurred here. So go ahead and stop your video and give your hands a break. You still have to hold it, but this way you don't have to hold it in the exact same spot. Yeah, we're going to keep moving further into the city. It should get a few degrees warmer as the night gets colder. You don't want to keep it focused on me here. You want to actually point it one way or the other.
Put down the alley or
So,
something.
yeah, you want to point it down the alley so you can see the ghost coming right at your face. I was just trying to scare you there. You didn't even catch on.
Like, okay.
So when we crossed that last crosswalk coming over, that's where the original Charlestown Wall used to be. Now, Charleston used to be called Charlestown, the walled city. So we heard the word wall earlier. We were outside the walls at the Pinckney Mansion site. So this is one of the first streets we ever had, is what you're
Okay.
standing on right now. So this is Lodge Alley. People used to live here.
So this is like a road.
This is, I mean, when people lived here, there was like 4 to 6 people that lived here at a time, and they were shotgun houses. They were real small, so 1 to 2 room houses only. 4 to 6 people here at a time. I get the same 2 names over and over and over again every 6 to 7 weeks, and we're approaching like that 5th to 6th week in my rotation. Those names are Benjamin and John.
I have Killing.
Yeah, the app is meant to scare you.
Oh, okay.
So Benjamin and John both lived here in 1801. When I say people lived here in 1801, there's only 5. 2 out of 5 people every 6 to 7 weeks. I don't find that coincidence at all.
Okay.
So the interesting thing is it was like a week or 2 ago, I brought up my group in here and I had all these spirit boxes going, and I said, okay, what names did you guys hear? And somebody says, I heard the name Johnny. And And I was like, all right, cool. Anybody else? And they're like, I heard the name Johnson. The John that I was speaking of earlier, his last name is Johnson.
Oh, wow.
So that kind of gives you the gist of how
Yeah.
often I actually hear it. Every once in a while, a third name will pop up, the name Jane. Again, that's the third out of 5 names that I hear from 1801. Do I have anything significant from 1801? I don't. I just get the same names over and over and over again, and I can prove that they actually lived here. The interesting thing is you guys have probably, or you guys do watch other Ghost Hunting shows, you've heard the term limestone before. It actually kind of stirs things up and hangs on to the consciousness and memories.
Yep.
You're standing on Belgian blocks. These are made straight from granite, which means they're straight from the earth, just like limestone. It does the exact same thing. Only with these stones, these have been here since 1735. How many memories have they seen, and how many are they replaying back for us?
Yeah.
So again, when we get here, this isn't a place where we stop and ask questions. We do capture a lot of orbs here with the other camera that I have. I have caught some anomalies with the camera you're using here. Before people lived here, the Freemasons had a Masonic lodge here, which is where it gets its name from, Lodge Alley.
Okay.
So we do get words like Freemason, Mason, but we've also heard Illuminati several times in this space only. I don't hear it anywhere else, and it normally comes out of a radio station. First question I have is, why the hell are people talking about the Illuminati on the radio? The second question is why am I only hearing it in this space? I'm not going to deep dive into conspiracy theories, but it does make sense that the Illuminati is usually set up with the Freemasons. So if you know anything about that, that's where it came from. They did do an archaeological dig underneath the bricks and found these people that lived here, their clothing and silverware and some of their tools and things, and they were able to classify them as lower class. Now, it makes sense because down on East Bay Street, which you're looking at right now, those buildings wouldn't have been there. It would have been the wall. So the smell of low tide would be coming through here all the time. Well, the rich aren't going to put up with that. If you notice that the houses down on the Battery, have you guys been down there yet?
Yes.
Where the houses are
That's what we
skinny in
did
the front,
yesterday, yeah.
and they go long backwards? It's that way for 2 different reasons. First off, you were taxed based on how much street side you took. The skinnier you are, the less taxes you pay. I took you to the Pinckney Mansion site, but their house was broad. First off, they're outside the city walls, and they have a shit ton of money. So it's bragging rights to be able to show off their house.
Yeah.
But those houses on the Battery, the other reason is it keeps the smell of low tide out. We have those piazzas with the front doors on the porches, smell of low tide out. They would open up the second story window, the nice cool breeze would come in from over the water, cool down the whole house because heat rises and cool air drops. So it's kind of old school air conditioning. But that's the reason why those places are set up that way. But I like to point that out because the things that they found underneath here, and I've actually gotten some of their specific tools on toolboxes before, like spoon, wooden handle. Like, you don't get those things on coincidence.
Yeah.
You know, so this is an interesting space, and again, it kind of lays out the rest of the land for us as we kind of go through the rest of the night.
Okay.
But we're going to be cutting through a neighborhood. I'm literally taking you right along the edge of where I'm allowed to take you. So once we get out of here, you're going to stop your video because we don't record in people's neighborhoods. I'm going to take you to another alley. However, I can't take you through it like what we're doing here. I've been booted out.
Okay.
The reason why is because you guys have the blinky lights and the noisemakers and all that stuff, and it is part of a neighborhood. So we're allowed to go halfway, but it's not fair because all the other tours love to go in there. You just seen how large they can be. That was a tour we passed, by the way. And if there's if there's 2 tours in there, that's 40 people. Well, we're trying to investigate a very small, skinny space. It's not fair to anybody.
Yeah.
So I still tell the story outside of this space, but I will tell you how I got booted out of that place once we get there because it'll start to make sense on why I had to reroute things and why like the dates all match up. But after that, we're going to see what comes up out of the spirit boxes. I'll kind of go through some myths and legends. If not, I'll go to the normal go-to stories at the St. Philip Cemetery area, and then we're going to deep dive into a female pirate and investigate like what we did at the Pinckney Mansion site. Like, that's a crazy whopper of a story. And again, it wasn't even one that I like. I'm a vampire guy, but I got kind of forced into the pirate thing being in Charleston, and you're going to see why here in a minute.
Okay.
So, questions, comments, have you heard anything? Have you been
Matter this was at 2.6 consistently.
It's because of the building. Any kind of pattern, so even the K2 meters, the blinky light ones on TV, if there's a pattern there, that's from something man-made. For example, your cell phone's going to emit a pattern, so it's going to blink, 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 and it's going to be in a rhythm.
I've got implement. I don't know if that means anything. I had slow, emerge, and match, and now implement.
Again, all very vague terms.
Yeah.
Last night's list was pretty weak too. I think only
Really?
2 terms out of the whole 67 were actually relevant or even vaguely close.
Okay.
So again, we'll kind of see how it, lines up with what I catch on the S-Box recording.
Okay.
Not to say like you're doing a bad job. It's cool.
No, I didn't say the other ones just because I figured they were. But implement, you were saying they found shovel and stuff like that,
Right,
and that's
right.
the only reason I mentioned that one.
So And again, when I take the list in the morning, like with a fresh set of eyes, things start to click and pop, and I'm like, oh, that could have been this. I
Okay.
should be looking for that.
Yeah.
Because that's the first thing I look at, because that
Okay.
gives me the timestamps, so that way I know where to listen and watch the recordings and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
All right, let's head up to the next alley. Again, it's about a block away. So.
Okay.
All right, let's go through the
Are
alley,
you
and then you'll
rolling, kid?
stop your video once we exit.
Okay.
So once we get to the end of the alley, you can go ahead and turn it off.
I'm gonna be the one that truck though.
Better? I'll stay out of your way.
Wow.
No. But that was the gentleman I had on the tour last night.
Or maybe they didn't like him.
They maybe liked him.
So,
Or they're like, where's Ron?
that list will give me normally names of people I have the following night. It's weird. It's like, oh, your name showed up here last night. Like, I say that all the time. But that's weird that he was here last night.
Maybe he's one
I don't know. It was a very weird situation. I'll say that
Was
much.
he
of them.
weird?
Neither.
He thought it was a private party.
Like alone? By himself?
No, with everybody that he brought.
Oh.
It was an obviously mixed group, so it was just a weird situation from the start.
Yeah.
But anyway, it is very weird that his name popped up.
So I would assume that whoever was around did not like him.
Maybe. Like I said, maybe the opposite.
I don't think
No,
so.
it's-
Post.
Interesting. Again, we're getting there. So let's talk about what this alley is
Because Ron's
behind
name
me.
is Post. Yesterday.
Religion post here.
Behind me is Philadelphia Alley. It used to be called Duelers Alley. So this is where the duels used to occur for the city of Charleston. So if you guys have seen Hamilton, you guys know what a duel is.
I haven't seen him.
No.
Well, the teenagers all watch Hamilton. That's why I bring it up.
A duel.
A duel. So take 20 paces, turn and shoot,
Yep.
kind of thing. You got it? Kinda? Yes? No?
They walk away from each other to equal distance, turn around, and they shoot.
That's the way they solve
Each
the
other.
problems.
Yes. So it'll make a whole lot more sense when I tell you the story. So there's a doctor that, well, by the way, every tour guide, like every tour goes down here, but we all tell the story of one duel because it actually occurred and we can prove who these people were, which is why we're here.
Free.
A doctor moves down here from Rhode Island. His name is Joseph Brown Ladd. He moves down here because his fiancee, Amanda, just inherited a bunch of money from her dead parents. She has an attorney helping her out with all of this money, and the attorney thinks that the doctor is just after Amanda's cash. So he tells her to get rid of the doctor. To prove that he's not just after her money, he moves to Charleston. The coachman that brought him into town set him up to be robbed and killed, so it wasn't a very good start to his stay in Charleston. Somebody walking by the name of Ralph Isaacs, and I'm going to stop there. We talked about initials somewhat earlier. Ralph has the same initials as where the doctor came from. Ralph Isaacs, Rhode Island.
Should
Our,
you stop filming this before?
yeah, she's good. They don't know.
No, but she keeps going to the road though.
She'll be alright. So RI will show up here. If anything else, it'll be R. That's why when you said Ron, I was like, I wonder if they got things a little confused out of the dictionary there. But anyway, he says, hey dude, you don't want to stay here. He's got a gunman inside that's going to try to kill you and take all your money. So he says, I got some friends at 59 Church Street. You can stay there, rent a room from them, and you'll be good to go. 59 shows up here a lot, just so you know. That's the reason why I say it very slowly. So the doctor takes him up on the offer. The two become friends. The doctor's practice starts to take off. He's making his own money. So he becomes known as the Whistling Doctor because he whistled all the time because Amanda's moving down soon. So every haunted city you will ever visit has a whistler, by the way. Ours is a doctor. I know it's cheesy and corny, but this is a true story.
And every place has a woman in white.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I don't do a woman
Or
in white.
green.
Well, I guess I
The
kind of
lady in
do.
green, the green lady. A lot of places
Well, that
have
was the cemetery near our house.
It's weird because we're going to talk somewhat about a lady in white, but I don't call her the lady in white. I call her by her actual name at the next stop.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, so the doctor and Ralph, they go see plays together, but they can't sit next to each other because the doctor makes more money. He gets better seats. So they talk about these plays on the way home. One night they go see a play, they're talking about the new actress that was here. The doctor thought she was great. Ralph, not so much. They start arguing. It gets even uglier when Ralph starts insulting the doctor's fiancée, Amanda, back home in Rhode Island. So they, get pretty pissed and they go their opposite ways. So, Ralph is from here. He's got friends at the newspaper. He puts an ad in the newspaper telling the whole city of Charleston what he thinks of the doctor. The doctor sees the ad and rebuttals with, let's go to the Rose Alley and we're going to settle this, meaning somebody's going to die. So they come down, back to back, take the 20 paces, they turn, the doctor points his gun in the air and he shoots. He did not want to kill his friend. He just wanted to prove a point and have the courage to show up to the fight. Ralph, however, still has his one shot and he puts it on the kneecap on the doctor. So the doctor doesn't die either. He drops to the ground and his friends pick him up and carry him home to 59 Church Street, where he dies 10 days later after refusing medical treatment. Remember, a doctor. He probably tried to bleed himself out. So again, these things have come up in the past. They say as you walk through this alley, you can actually hear the whistles from the doctor and or gunshots. So do I have whistles? I used to take my teams all the way through there. But again, there's a beautiful mansion at the end. One of the reasons I got booted out of this place, well, not one of the reasons, the reason, is because these bricks at the other end are older. This alley didn't always come all the way through, so that means that the bricks on the other side are sun-dried bricks from slave children. We have a full handprint and fingerprint swipes in those bricks at the other end. If everybody wants to put an EMF meter near it or a spirit box, I treat those bricks the same way I would a grave. They're not hanging out, and that kid's not staring at that brick in the afterlife. However, those bricks are right outside a gentleman's dining room window, and I got busted. So, November 26th, 2020, he come out screaming. November 27th, 2020 was Thanksgiving. I did not have a tour. The 28th, I got a phone call from the tourism office. They asked me to either reroute or to only go down halfway. So I said, it's not fair to you guys. I'm going to reroute. I don't know a whole lot of the stories up on the other end, but I'm going to give them a whirl. So the 28th, I take my team out and tell them we're going to wing it. We're going to see what happens. So we get up there, and I'm kind of giving a little bit of history I know about Aunt Bonnie. I don't really know much about it. Somebody hears the number 300. I have no idea what it means. Then somebody hears the name Ann while I'm there. I'm like, okay, got something going on. So the next morning I'm looking at the number 300. Anne Bonny's trial for piracy was November 28th, 1720. We were there on the exact 300-year anniversary of her trial. So I'm like, damn it, now I got to learn about pirates. And I got to read a bunch of books and watch a lot of, movies and that kind of thing. I'm not a pirate person. I'm definitely a vampire guy. So I've read more books on piracy, including all of the original, general history of pirates and all of those. I've read them dozens of times at this point, trying to piece this story together.
Michael.
I don't know who that is. Because we're going to St. Philip's, not St. Michael's. It's funny as
You got to tell it, not me. I'm not.
I know, but I heard Michael come out of that spirit box at this location last night. So it was between here and the next spot.
There could be other ghosts.
It could be. And again, and half the time, if it is, halfway message or starter message, I don't know what that is, or it's not relatable to what I'm talking about, it could be somebody else. You're completely right. And again, I'm not going to deep dive into, this little brick right here and that little bush over there. There's just too much going on. So, have you heard anything since we've been standing here? Nothing at all. Okay. You probably did. You probably missed a lot. It's okay. That's not an easy job. So again, that's why we're recording.
Listen to two different things
Right.
at the same time.
Yeah, I'm asking you to use your senses in a way you've never done that before. So again, the fact that you're trying to focus on both me and the radio stations, it's impressive.
Nora. Legion.
Legion.
Nora.
I don't know who Nora is either. Again, all these people's
Nora
names.
is an old name, though.
It is.
Maybe it's Michael.
I had a
Maybe
friend of mine
it was
named
Michael's mistress.
Nora. Passed away about 7 or 8 years ago. Might be. It's funny. I was just thinking about her the other day. So true. All right. So you can stop filming. We are going to go up to the next stop. So this story is about 5 to 6 minutes. It's a little longer than the Pinckney Mansion story, just so you guys know, because there's a lot going on here. And this is also a hit or miss location. So either Anne is here or she's not. It's definitely, you're not going to get spikes like what you had over there, just so you know. Anne is said to be seen all over town. The pirate we're going to be discussing is Anne Bonny, but I like to point out the building first. So the little building up there with the crosses on it, that's what we're going to be basically focused on. That's the powder magazine. Those are not crosses. Those are
Component.
earthquake bolts. Earthquake bolts are basically turnbuckles. So if we have another earthquake like what we did in 1886, the gist behind that is you can turn those turnbuckles and it'll straighten the building back up.
Oh.
It's a great idea. It just doesn't
Work.
So, and we haven't had another earthquake like what we did in 1886. Now, we had an earthquake a few months ago, but it was like a 1 point something on the Richter. But anyway, so I like to talk about the construction of this building because it's so weird. I told you guys about the Charlestown walls earlier. Well, where the parking garage is now, that's where the wall existed. So it went up the street and then just past the powder magazine and started going south behind me this way. So it locked it into the corners on purpose. If it gets attacked from a Revolutionary warship or a pirate ship from 3 blocks away, those walls are 32 inches thick. It's going to have a hard time going through and penetrating to the gunpowder. Let's say it does and goes all the way through. There is sand in the roof that is supposed to go up in the air with the explosion and then fall to put out the fire of the gunpowder. That sand is still there. However, that idea doesn't work either. We had another powder magazine closer to the battery. Sand went up, building burned to the ground. No longer exists. This one's just never been attacked. Although it did serve in 7 different wars, including the Civil War was its last servant. It's a museum now, so if you ever need to get out of the cold or the heat, depending on what time of year you're here, that's a great $5 spend. So it's beautiful in there. So we're here because this building took 10 years to build. That doesn't sound like our government, right? Small building, 10 years? In the middle of its construction is when Anne actually moved here, so let's get into it.
Sally's.
It's so weird.
I don't think I've ever seen that before. Like, term on that spirit
When
box.
someone sallies, they kind of walk slowly. Like if somebody sallies down a lane. I mean, I read a lot.
So much you've been walking slow all night?
Well, no, that not me. I'm limping. But I mean, it's sallies. That's what that is. It's.
But
Maybe
here,
they're trying to say something pertaining to you to
That's
say
my
that they're
point.
Oh,
here.
okay.
Like,
Pointing out that they know I'm here.
either that or you brought somebody with you.
Oh, correct.
Well, could be Ryan.
My son passed away a few years ago, so
Sorry to hear that.
thanks.
Do you know a Ron that maybe has passed on?
My cousin Ron, but I wasn't close to him, so
Okay.
probably not.
We'll see.
I could say Ryan.
You can.
Ryan, you here?
That's a yes or no question.
Okay. Ryan, what did I call you when you were a baby?
And we're going to leave it at that and see
Okay.
what happens. So I'll continue on if something pops up.
Okay.
Amazing. Because
Okay.
then you had a personal experience. But if not, then we don't know for sure.
Okay.
So we'll take that for what it is. I will tell you, whenever I get vets on this tour, it doesn't matter what story I tell. Everything comes through is from somebody they lost overseas. And it doesn't matter what war. Could have been, Korea, anything. I
We
get it.
attract many spirits.
I had turn already once. That's the second time turn came up.
Maybe it's your turn.
To do what?
Maybe it's my turn. I don't know. I was
I
just
don't know.
talking.
Because that's why I yelled to you. I said, it's not me telling you to turn. It came up.
Well, I got your meaning, because when people are shouting at things, just one word answers or something.
Yeah.
I know it's from the person who's holding a spirit box of some sort. But the fact that you have it twice is weird. Normally when something comes up twice, that's screaming for it to be paid attention to.
Yeah.
So, then that Sally's, like, I'm telling you, I've never seen that term on there. I've been using that thing for 6-7 years.
Amanda?
Amanda Bell.
Bell.
It
Oh,
said
it was
Amanda.
Amanda Vest and then Bell. Yeah.
So we had Amanda. We're still next to Philadelphia Alley.
Yeah, I had Amanda and then VES, like a beginning of a last name or something.
Sally's. The doctor was shot in the knee.
Oh. Yeah, he wouldn't have been
You
able
would
to
have
walk.
walked with a limp. And you were talking about a limp. You were limping.
Well, I said I was limping, not sallying. Because sallying is usually like a young girl just like slowly meandering down a lane because she's not in a hurry and she's singing to herself and that kind of thing.
Does she whistle?
Well, she probably could whistle, but
But
Do you whistle while you sally?
I know. Whistle while
Whoever
no, that's
you
not
are.
whistle while you work. Whistle
no,
while-
that's whistle while you walk.
Whistle while you walk. All right,
Okay.
I'm going to break into the story here.
Okay.
See if something else pops up. I'm excited about Amanda showing up. The word Sally's is really throwing me off. Like, I want an exact definition. I'm the writer guy that needs to see the description. Not
Yeah,
that your
that's
words
fine.
aren't clear
No,
enough.
it's just, and I had never looked it up, but it's just that's what, like, I
It's so
used to
weird.
read Victorian, like, Gothic romances and stuff
Sure.
like that. It's an old term
Older.
for, like, sashaying or walking.
1055.
1055.
No.
1055.
A lot of times 1059 will be heard. 59 being the address of where the doctor stayed. Because it was
Could
59
have been
Church
a
Street.
9. It sounded like 5.5 though. 105.
Because we do have, I think, 2 radio stations. One is a 105.5 and the other one's a 105.9.
I heard 93.5.
That's a
How long ago was that?
Right now?
Oh.
93.5. It does sound like she's hearing radio.
Yeah,
Call
and that's what
letters.
I wanted her here. But if
Oh,
we were
okay.
over at the Pinckney Mansion site, that's where it would have been relevant because Eliza died in 1793.
Huh?
If you heard 93.5, I would take out the 5.
93.
93. That's a specific
1793
year
she died.
is when Eliza
At that
died.
mansion.
But we're not there, so at this point, it's no longer relevant. We didn't hear it over there.
Okay.
She's like, what
Got it?
I think she's got it.
Got it.
So, a young lady named Anne Cormack moves here in 1708 from Ireland. She's with her dad and his mistress. The mistress is her mother. You guys with me so far?
Uh-huh.
The 3 of them are running away from his wife.
Oh, okay, got
Okay.
it.
I like to slow down there so everybody can
Mm.
grab the circle of what's going on here. So anyway, they land in Georgetown, just north of here. Dad buys a plantation. Mom dies pretty quickly. That means he has to send young Anne down here to sell anything from the plantation to keep things afloat. Now, Anne back home in Ireland was kind of a badass. They say when she was like 7 or 9 years old, she killed one of her servants with a knife to the belly.
Oh my
so she was younger than
Thomas.
you.
Thomas.
Ooh. Damn it. Why is Eliza following us over here? Like, that's too
Because that
close.
was the son, right?
All right.
She's attached herself to somebody.
Well, Thomas also walked with a gimp. Remember, he was shot.
Oh,
and-
yeah. He was the other one that was.
The war.
Interesting. Damn it, Eliza,
telling
you're
you.
supposed to stay home.
But she likes you. You know her
We
well.
attract things. She brought a spirit home from a hospital, and it inhabited her for like 2 hours.
Eliza, if you followed us over here, I want to see the name of one of your other children show up on the blue box. Whenever you're ready. I'm going to continue talking about Anne Bonny. That was before your time. So, where was I? Oh, she was a badass, right? Okay, so she's sending, we're going to fast forward. This building was done in 1713. 1715, pirates are coming through town. Anne's pretty stoked. She's about 15, 16, maybe 17 years old at this time. She falls in love pretty quickly. The guy's name is James Bonny. Dad doesn't approve because he's a filthy pirate. They run away to Jamaica. They get married. Anne Cormack becomes Anne Bonny, your most famous female pirate of the Golden Age. So when she gets down there, this is not the Captain Jack Sparrow that she was hoping for. This guy is he's a joke. He's a privateer. In her eyes, he's a coward. He's a spy for the British. So a few years later, she falls in love again. This guy's name is John Rackham, guy number 2. I'll keep track. AKA Calico Jack. We're going to call him Jack through the rest of the story. Calico Jack had his own ship, and Anne wanted to be part of it. But you can't put a girl on a crew because girls curse pirate ships.
Oh,
I know
yeah.
it's with females and curses on my tour, but it just so happens to be that way. So anyway, he makes a deal with her. If you dress like a guy, you can be part of the crew, and you can be a female in my quarters, because he's the captain. She's okay with this. Why? Because Dad used to cross-dress her as a boy back home in Ireland to keep her away from his wife. So she's good with it. She's now a pirate. Let's put 2 and 2 together. She's a female in his quarters. She's eventually going to get pregnant. You cannot have a pregnant pirate dude on the crew. Like
Yeah.
somebody's going to figure it out. So he drops her off in Cuba. Go have the baby. These are friends of mine. They'll help you out with the birth. Come back later. We'll figure it out. She goes and has a baby, returns with no baby. We have no idea what happened to the child. She's also dressed like a girl. This makes Jack pretty mad. She doesn't give a damn anymore about hiding her gender. She wanted her freedom and be a pirate. She's going to be a pirate. Jack just captured another pirate cruiser down below deck. She's going to go flirting because that's what Anne does. We're on guy number 3. Guy number 3 turns out to be a female dressed like a guy to be part of the pirate crew that Calico Jack was captured. So now we have 2 females dressed like males. Yes, I practice that in the mirror often to make sure I don't hiccup on that one. So anyway, Mary, that's the young lady's name, Mary Reed. The 2 of them become friends, possibly lovers. We'll never know for sure. She convinces her to become part of the crew. Now they're really good
Oh,
friends.
speak.
The British find out where they are. They send their entire fleet of ships to come and take down one pirate ship. Anne and Mary are the only 2 not drunk enough to come up and fight. So, it's 2 ladies with 1 bullet flintlocks above deck trying to save the ship. Obviously, they're going to get arrested by the British. As they're being arrested,
Sophie?
that name keeps popping up here. I don't know the names of Anne's children. Like, it's unknown. So the fact that it keeps showing up here is weird.
Crops.
Oh. We'll see what type of crops. You need to be a little bit more specific. We're talking pirates. There's only certain types of crops that pirates dealt with. But anyway, so the judge, he wants to see the 2 men that, you know, fought back by themselves because the other guys were already tried and hung.
Smoke.
You know, kinds of things. We were just talking about cigars, weren't we? So the judge, his name is Nicholas as well, just like the Nicholas Trout across the street I told you about. This one is Nicholas Laws. So Nicholas, he wants to see the two men. The two ladies go in front of him. They reveal their gender, hoping to save themselves. He doesn't care that they're females. He's still going to hang them. They're still pirates. We plead our bellies, meaning they're both claiming to be pregnant. You cannot hang a pregnant woman in 1720. It is illegal. So he sends them both back to jail. So they go back to jail. Dad is still here in Charleston with all of his Irish money. He bails out and she remarries husband number 2, guy number 4. Yes, we're going to count Mary Reed because we don't know. She has 4 kids and dies at the age of 84. That's all we know. As far as Mary Reed goes, she died a year later in that Jamaican jail from whatever pirates die from in a Jamaican jail. I'm sure it was scurvy and bumpy and gross and whatever else you want to come up with. So there's only 2 things that I left out of that story on purpose so that way you guys actually had something to work with the spirit boxes. The name of Anne's parents, that's the father and his mistress, and the name of Calico Jack's ship. So if you want to start with that, you can.
Stella.
It was not Stella.
Okay. Stella.
So I did tell you at the beginning of this group time together that somebody has passed out on this tour. It was relevant to the story. This is that space. Here's what happened. I brought my group back here. Probably party 8 or 9. Kid next to me goes white as a ghost. I mean, when I say white as a ghost, he was white. He started to pass out. I pick him up by his armpit, and we get him over to that brick wall over there. He sits down. I send his boyfriend over across the street to the vending machine to get him a bottle of water. He comes back. He's feeling better. I then tell the story. I send everybody out to go play with their devices. They pull me aside. We have to tell you something. I'm like, what's going on? Now that we know the story, it makes complete sense. We are 2 transgender males, meaning I had 2 females dressed like males on my tour, just like Anne and Mary. So again, you can't make this stuff up.
Yeah.
It was a nice, cool night. Not maybe as cold as this one because it was in September. But again, there was no reason for that kid to be passing out on the tour. They were totally fine with me retelling their version of the story because now they're part of the story.
Yeah.
So again, it's not one of those things. And again, it was almost like instant. As soon as we walked in here, he said he wasn't feeling well, and then all of a sudden, 2 minutes later, I'm picking him up off the ground. What is it?
Lick.
I wasn't licking him. So we're going to move closer to that wall over there and kind of see what goes on. So that way we don't have to meander around too much with you. Let's just get as close as we can to the powder magazine. And I like to stay, I know people say like, oh, you took us to a bunch of parking lots, but it gives us an area where 10 people can spread out. Okay. But we're going to, you know, and we're not in the way of other tours over here because they all like to go to the front. That way we're not like in their way. So we're going to go just chill over there on the wall for a few minutes and see what happens. If she's here, we'll know. If she's not, we'll know. And then we'll wrap the party up. If I would have known you were moved, buddy, I would have had her park closer.
Oh no, we didn't really know where to park. The maps are just really following.
Well, did you get the text message this morning? It gave you like where to park, which would have been right there. A lot of people like to park right there, so that way they can just go straight to the parking garage. Like my parking garage is down the street. So, speaking of, if you guys do happen to go down Louisville's Alley, listening for whistles with your voice recorders, keep in mind the locals all know the story, and we all throw a whistle down the alley whenever we walk past it. Really? I do it every single night on my way back. So that way, if my daughter's on the tour, we race to see who's going to put the whistle down the alley first, just to throw off all the other tours. But there's another little like bench thing over there. We can kind of sit down and see what the spirit boxes are going to do. And you can kind of just hold your camera still, pointing out this way once you sit down. How about that? Good. Yeah, this is where you'll probably turn on your REM pod for a few. Yeah, they're turning left. Maybe it wants me to point out. Well, the steeple, it leans left.
Oh, okay.
Based on the earthquake. It was influenced from the earthquake. You can't see it with the naked eye, but it does lean left, and they laugh because I guess John Calvin, I don't know my left and right from political past.
Oh, I was going to say, she doesn't know her left and rights at all.
Alright,
Stop it. Well, we just dealt with that today, Kelly.
Alright, and gotta give us something. It's been kind of a light night.
What were your father and your mother's names?
That was interesting.
Beam into blue.
I've seen that. We don't normally, I mean, if I'm getting anything out of here, it's usually out of the REM pod. And what did you say? You heard begging you? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Can you just perform that one more time?
No.
Oh,
No, that was me.
oh, that was you.
That's not me.
That's not you. And can you step away from it? Make it stop. Thank
Oh.
you. And make it go to blue again. You gotta get closer to it to make it go blue.
I don't bite.
Maybe she does.
Maybe.
She's a badass too. And what were your children's names?
You got anything? I'm asking her. She's the one listening.
Oh, yeah. I hear static.
Are you looking at something? You watching it?
Kind of
Something
probably went.
pops up.
And we want to see the color blue again. Mary, can you make it go to blue? I don't know that Mary was ever here.
After.
She was here after?
That's what it says.
And what was your father's wife's name?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'd actually have to look that one up. I can't remember.
And how did you die?
You have to remember, for the 1700s, she actually lived longer than Eliza. She was 84
Wow.
when she died.
Yeah, so she probably just died of old age.
Mm-hmm.
Did you like being a pirate? Oh, that's a yes or no question.
It is.
What was your second husband's name?
That we don't know either.
Oh, I thought you told us.
Nope. Because remember, the second husband was after her pirate career. Calico Jack was just a beau.
Oh, okay.
Like, he tried to buy the dowry from James. James refused.
Oh, okay.
See why I withhold information?
I'm not getting anything right. Oh, wait a minute. And
Usually a goodbye or something like that. It's usually like, okay, we're going to call it. But
Yeah.
Anne, can you tell us the name of Calico Jack's ship? What was the name of the ship? We've asked a lot of questions. You can answer any of them or make the device go back to blue. Make the box with the red square on it, make it go to blue. Get close to that metal stick. You know how this works. I do this every night. Hey, come on, you should be on cue here, Anne.
come on, Ann.
Get on top of it.
My mother-in-law's name is Anne.
My grandmother's name is Anne. Oh, was named Anne. It's the same spelling. It's Anne with an E.
Oh, she's Anne with an A-N-N.
Double N. You're still on the end.
Still on end.
Ava, you got nothing? Alright, I'm going to call it.
Okay.
I don't see anything going on. Again, this one's a hit or miss. We just never know. Just because there's a lot going on here. But she said to be seen all over town. So they actually used to do
Oh,
just...
smart.
She's saying it's smart for us to end it. So, I'd like to show you what Anne looked like. So you guys have that here. Her and Calico Jack look like. So, Anne, this is one of the few pictures I could find
Choose.
with her with a shirt on, because Anne liked to bare her breast to show men that they were just killed by a woman. So
Okay.
I like this particular picture because you can see the flintlocks. Like
Yeah.
they detailed them pretty well. So again, pretty interesting. But as far as Calico, and the name of her parents were William Cormack and Mary Brennan. So again, lots of same names. We had Mary Reed earlier, her friend/lover. But you weren't expecting to listen for another Mary. This is Calico Jack. He was named that because of the jackets that he wore. They came from the men that he killed. So that's why he was called Calico Jack. He was a very dapper young filthy pirate. The name of his ship was the Kingston. So I don't expect Kingston to pop up. I do expect King. Like that would suffice in this case. But again, I know like that's actually the only picture I could find of actual Calico Jack of what he actually looked like. But you guys are free to ask me a million questions as I collect your devices.
I don't
I'm sure Jason's going to come up with a million of them right now. He doesn't say a word all night long.
That was not me.
And make it go to blue. Get closer. She's like, nope, screw you. Take yours.
Messing with us.
Is it choose?
I like it.
Yeah, I told you, she's pretty. Got 84 terms come up.
Huh?
Not ironic that that is the age that she was when she died. And now we have the word paint, so they just threw that off.
She just wanted to prove
I'll
you
take
wrong.
yours. She's like, not the phone.